Um, so Jesiah, welcome, dude.
Thank you for asking me to answer a few questions.
So where are you right now?
I
Set the
am
stage.
in I'm in my bedroom in Nashville, Tennessee. Uh, yeah, that's where I am.
Nice. And so just to add some context for everyone else, we've never actually met. This is our first time actually talking to each other. We've emailed a ton, we've tweeted a ton. I've liked many of your Mindies over the past year and a half, 2 years now. But
Yep.
this is our first. This is a moment.
Wow, this is almost real life. Oh, it's
Yeah,
the closest we've been.
it's as close as hopefully we can meet someday.
Yeah.
Um, but so when we launched Product Hunt Live, I was like, okay, we want to get we want a diverse set of people. And immediately you came to mind as someone who you're not Chris Sacca, you're not like someone who's like super well known in the startup world by any means, but
Yeah.
you're amazingly talented. And I've said this to you as well, like you're incredibly talented and like, I want more of your work and more of your talent to be like exposed in any way possible.
Thanks,
Because
man.
you're just amazing. For those that haven't seen your stuff, let's actually throw your demo reel in the chat. I'll do that for you.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
is that the best video that you have? The demo reel that's on your website?
There's a Vimeo version of that that's in a better it's HD.
Okay,
So if you Jesiah Bonney Vimeo, it'll be bam
okay.
right there.
Neve's in the chat. Can you pull it up, Neve, and throw it in the chat for
I'll
those
do that.
that are watching?
Let me do
Um,
that.
awesome. So I first met you just through Mindie. For those that don't know, Mindie is it's an app that you record like 10-second music videos, really short clips. And Josiah was making these amazing things, anything from stop motion videos to really artsy, kind of like very creative. I don't even know how to describe it, but very different styles for different videos. And you created how many?
I think I've done like somewhere between like 500 and 1,000. I don't know. I just started making a bunch.
Yeah, and they're amazing. And so we connected that way. And I thought, okay, it'd be awesome to bring you on and show everyone what you're working on and also hear more about what your plans are as like a amazing undiscovered video producer director slash car salesman.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
That's a good question.
So let's actually jump into. I think Layla has a question here related to avocados and salesmen. So Layla says, "Thanks for being here, Josiah. Josiah, right?
Jesiah, but Jesiah
Josiah.
is a cool
I
nickname.
keep saying Josiah. Josiah. I got it."
It's okay, Rian.
Nice. I've had people call me that multiple times.
Really?
So, Layla's question: how has your schooling in theology, biblical studies informed the work you do as a car salesman, a filmmaker, and avocado eater?
Well, that's a well thought out question. So yeah, I went to school for theological and biblical studies, and nothing against the particular school. I don't think I really learned anything from that program, but it eventually, when I graduated, I'm like, hey, I like theology, philosophy. So I kept reading, and that's when I really started discovering and learning a lot. It's weird when you like actually leave college, you end up learning what you want to learn. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I think when anyone makes something, it's going to reflect some sort of philosophy of life or some sort of way they see the world. So I've just always like been seeking to discover and been open and read a lot of things. And I hope that whatever I make somehow conveys that. And some videos are just for fun, obviously. Like I just wanted to do it. But then again, even that is like showing like, hey, life is fun. Hey, life is beautiful. So,
Mm-hmm.
and as far as avocado eating, I guess, I just like avocados. I don't know. It hasn't influenced it, but I probably have read a book that's on philosophy while eating an avocado many a time.
Probably. So I don't really like avocados. Are you okay
You
with that?
don't?
No, I don't.
All
Corley's in the chat. I know she's watching right now. She loves avocados.
right.
Um,
Man,
yeah.
avocados are, if I had to limit, like, if I could only eat like one thing for the rest of my life, I'd probably be okay with avocados.
See, look at the chat. We have some avocado lovers. I'm sorry, guys.
Yes, that's it, man. So you really, what about guacamole?
Not really into guac. Yeah,
Just all around, man.
just all around not into it. Yeah, I know.
That's okay.
So you mentioned reading. So what are some of your favorite books or any books that have kind of shaped the way that you think about the world?
Well, that's a good question. I like if we go like classic stuff, I like Lord of the Rings. I think that's like an amazing book. I loved this book right here, which you guys know
Mm,
about.
yep.
And I watched the movie and it was awesome. Then I also read obscure things like a book I've been reading is Primitive Anthropology. So that's real out there, but I really like
Mm,
just all over the place. So
nice. Have any of those books shaped some of the videos you've made? Have you ever taken like a book that you've read, and have you been inspired to create something specific for that book?
I don't know if I've ever done anything specific for a book. I think if anything, it more like just influenced the way I wanted to see something or the way I wanted to portray something. So
Hmm.
there's never been a direct like, hey, there's this book and I want to turn it. There's been more like I've seen a movie or a music video or a scene, and then I try to like at least uh, admire that in some or create something similar. So more visual things have influenced other things.
Nice. You should do a Martian video of some sort.
I
I think
should.
there's a lot of inspiration in that film. I watched it last month and it was amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's great. Did you read the book?
No, I did not. I
Oh
know.
man.
I
Well,
know.
it's the kind of thing you can see the movie and then see the book and it's still okay.
Cool, cool. All right, Eric has a question here. Let's see. Eric asks, broadly, how do you think of your career development, dreams, aspirations? What trade-offs are you making?
Um,
It's a really broad, kind of deep question, Eric.
I know that's deep. Is that talking about like the present or my future aspirations? I think I think it's kind of an interesting stage in my life where at one point I kind of gave up the creative stuff and said, "Hey, I need to have like a normal job and do normal things and pay the bills." And then Mindy kind of reignited this sense of like, "Man, I love creating things and I'm addicted to making things and maybe I
Mhm.
should pursue this somehow." So right now I'm in like a place where I'm just trying to discover what it is that I want to do, and along the way making stuff, and along the way paying the bills by selling cars. And I would love to I like to create things not for like the monetary gain of it, which is, I mean,
Mhm.
that's probably a big part, but I just like to make things and I would love to make a living making things and
Mhm.
creating things, whether it's like a short video or whether it's a longer form of story. So I like making things, and that's something that I realized over the last couple years when I started making these videos. I was just like, man, I got it out of my like I've been wanting to do it for a while. I kind of gave it
Yeah.
up and stuff. So
Have you done anything long form?
um the longest thing I've done was and it was kind of it was a learning experience, but there was a Sony ad which was unreleased, which I hear is more common, but at the time I was
Mhm.
like, man,
That's a
my
bummer.
my first cool thing, and that was like it started out 3 minutes and then it was like 1 minute, but that's the longest thing I've ever done. I've been working on a screenplay that's a feature that's going to be for a feature film, so that's the longest
Mhm.
thing I've that's unfinished. But um, I haven't really. My mind and my goals go toward like the longer things, but everything I've
Mhm.
done has been like the compact, small stuff.
Yeah. 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 I mean, 10 seconds is all you can film on Mindy, which always leaves me wanting more, honestly. Whenever you've done a video before, I'm like, wait, what's next? I want more.
Yeah, yeah, and the cool thing about like limiting there's something I learned through like doing these videos is like what's the best thing you can make within 10 seconds, because some people could make
Mhm.
try to make something and it just goes on and on and on. It's like, how can I make something that's just as awesome in just 10 seconds? It really it gets you thinking and processing and coming up with new forms of resources, and
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
make it more
Constraints,
creative.
constraints are a great thing.
Yeah.
Um, so Tom has a question here.
Hi, Tom.
He says, what platforms do you see as the best one for creators moving forward? He's mentioning Instagram, Vine, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat.
Man, that's a really good question. I think I think the most popular one that's like popular for artists and for your everyday person or for older, younger, I think Instagram really has their hands in like all of these creative and video and obviously photography side of things, and then just real life. Vine is great.
Mhm.
Snapchat is cool. Snapchat's never really been like,
I'm surprised. Is it?
yeah.
I have some assumptions, but why? Why aren't you into Snapchat?
Yeah, I don't know. I just I like maybe it's too personal for me. Maybe I like to kind of keep the
The mystery
the
alive.
mystery. Yeah, yeah, and Snapchat's just like it's like here I like it's almost I can kind of separate myself, which I don't know why I do that, but Snap I just and it's nothing against it. I'm actually pretty picky with like the kind of apps I use and video and things that I go to. So then I kind of limit myself to like 2 or 3 things that I go on like every day or something.
Yeah, yeah. And did you see yesterday actually Snapchat launch? They're kind of moving and looking tiny bit more like Mindie every day. They launched the ability to dub music or sound over Snapchat, I think 4 or 5 months ago. And then yesterday they launched the fast motion and slow motion feature. Did you see that?
Oh, I have not seen that. I need to be paying attention to this stuff.
So
See that?
yeah, it's interesting. It's moving and becoming more of a creative platform increasingly. So it seems like. So you
Yeah,
should
that's something.
try.
That's something. Yeah, those are my kind of things. I like those kind of tools, and
Yeah.
maybe maybe I'll get into that
Actually,
even.
where did you find Mindie to begin with? You were like
I
very early on, like when it first launched.
oh, man, what Tyler, who writes for Fast Company Co-Design,
Tyler Hayes.
wrote an art. Tyler Hayes,
Yeah.
yeah, and who actually wrote something with my name in it a few times, which was cool. I was like, hey, you're the guy that I found this out about.
Mhm.
So I go on Fast Company quite a bit, and I saw the article. I'm like, that's cool. I looked it up. I actually saw one of your articles that was like, Mindie is badass or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I downloaded it, made my first video in the kitchen with my wife and her dancing, which looked better than me dancing or trying to dance. And I was addicted. And that night I just like recorded everything. And then I'm like, wait, I can do this with this. I can do this. I got my first best Mindie, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the
Yeah.
greatest accomplishment ever.
Yeah.
And then it pretty much was an addiction or obsession from there. Like, because I worked 60 hours a week. I was a full-time student. It was my senior year. I didn't have time to make any videos, but I was like, hey,
Mhm.
I really love this and it makes me feel better. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's an amazing platform, and just in
yeah,
general, this kind of new media movement towards, yeah, what Tom mentioned before, like Vine, YouTube, Instagram. It's enabling just anyone really to create something, and not everything's great.
yeah.
Some people are really not great at creating content. Some people are amazing, like yourself, who without these apps would have probably maybe never even gotten to this kind of thing.
Yeah, honestly, because I'd always loved film, but been intimidated by all the technical things, like
Mhm.
all the things you got to say and who does this job and the camera stuff. And it was like Mindie was like, wow, I can make a music video and I don't have to be like a film expert in the technical side. So I could
Yeah.
just take my mind and then create. And so without that, I don't know if I'd be in the direction or path I'm going. I wouldn't be here, obviously.
Yeah. Cool. Let's take another question. Let's see. Looks like okay. Jess has a question here. Jess with an awesome name, emoticon name here. Are we headed to a vertical video future? He says, please say no.
Uh, no. Uh,
Okay, next
Uh,
question.
he said please. So well, I think video and art can adapt to there's ways that it can adapt to the artist. I think the best form for me to see a movie would probably be on the big screen, an actual film, like that Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight that's going to be in 70 millimeter film. Like for me, that'd be the ideal experience watching a movie or some sort of video. But there's
Mhm.
also like people have these things they carry around that are their phones, and that very wide view is just not the best view for that, even if you put it sideways. Or if, I mean, I think when Mindie and these other apps tapped into the portrait view, it immerses you into this new form of art. It's a new
Mhm.
medium. It may not be a movie on a big screen, but there's something different about that vertical video. I don't think you'll ever be in a theater watching a vertical video. Maybe some movies that are experimental, but who knows?
Yeah, so I actually met with Chris Carmichael, who's actually doing a live chat coming up in a week or two, I think. And he kind of described it's kind of subtle observation is that vertical video feels more personal in
Mm,
that it's something that we all kind of relate to and we have empathy around because it's holding a phone
yeah,
out like this, like we all do, and it's directly in your face. And
yeah.
so there is something a little bit more intimate about that kind of setting, I think.
It is, yeah, and it's also like when you see a person, I mean, it's easier. Like they're obviously taller than they are wide usually, and so
Usually.
you can do a lot of creative stuff inside that style. There's a lot of videos I wouldn't have been able to do in different formats. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's take a question. Looks like Neve's got a question here. Hey, do you see an overlap with Snapchat, Vine, Instagram video creators?
an overlap with, is that with like with people who are on those doing the other things too, or all kind
Um,
of connecting eventually?
I'm not exactly sure, Neve. If you're in the chat, he says the skill set or format. Do you see kind of any kind of pattern or kind of similarity between people who are creating content all of these new media platforms?
Yeah, I think I think there's each one has a little thing that's different about them that makes them special. But I also think if like some of the things I've learned making Mindies, I could probably utilize on a Vine, which I really haven't done before, or an Instagram video. So there is this kind of tools created in one can be used in others, and things you learn, and they become very similar mediums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Vine is probably the closest thing to Mindy since it has quick cuts. It's limited to a very short amount of time.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let me look at these questions here. We're talking a lot about video here, so it looks like Andreas has another question here. It just where it is, there it is. What's the future of video content? Now that's a pretty broad question.
Goodness, wow.
So you can interpret that many different ways, but where do you think video is heading?
Um, Well, I think some of the coolest things they're talking about is like virtual reality, and that's I mean that's always been like 70s, 80s. I mean you see it in movies. Everyone's talking about virtual reality, the games, but like more now than ever, it's especially involved with like people immersing themselves in a story or in a movie, or like imagine watching Star Wars and it's a virtual reality, and you literally are like in this reality, and you almost can't tell the difference. I mean, that's all
Mhm.
really sci-fi stuff that people have talked about for a long time, but I think the goal with video or that kind of or all kind of art is this immersing yourself in it. Some you love this art so much you just want to be surrounded by it, and so I think with video, I think a big thing in the future will be some sort of virtual reality where it's more than just like where it's more than just like a video game, or that where it's really you could experience a whole movie or story
Mhm.
with that on, and there's probably things like that already happening. But
Have you tried any VR yourself?
I have not. I almost did when I went to the Interstellar when I saw Interstellar in film. They had one of
Mhm.
those man, I'm forgetting the name now. It's the most popular one that
Was it Oculus or
yeah,
Vive?
Oculus. They had Oculus there,
Mhm.
and I was like, man, but I didn't do it. I wanted to see the real ship from the video was there, so I got to like see it. So, but I didn't do
Wow.
Oculus yet. I heard it's
Wow.
awesome though.
If you get a chance to try Vive, that's the most impressive
Five.
experience I've been through. Vive HTC. If you get the right experience, there's one called Tilt Brush where you paint. You would love this because you love creating stuff.
Yeah.
You literally paint in this world where you can walk around,
Oh
and so you
wow.
could draw an entire house if you wanted to, and you can go inside that house and you could draw the bed. I mean, you could. It's amazing.
Wow, that's like living Minecraft or something. Like you just
It
create your world.
yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's really cool.
I want to try that.
Uh, all right, so let's jump into here. Um, okay, let's see. Kate's got a good question here. What has been your favorite music video to make? And you said 500 to 1,000 Mindies. And that's just Mindies.
Yeah.
So you've made a lot.
I've made a lot
Do
of
you have,
videos.
yeah, what's the most fun one to make?
The most fun one to make. Um, there's a lot that stand out. There's some. I think the most memorable one was this. It's in my reel, and a lot of people have probably seen it if they followed me on Mindie. And it's where I'm running and I jump off a cliff, and then it's a little photo stop motion version of me, and I fly into outer space, and then I come down. And that was really fun because I was kind of discovering a new way of like animation, like where I just take thousands of pictures of myself in all these movements and angles, and then cut that out, which is always much more work than I anticipate, and that takes so much time. But the process of that, I love. I mean, that was just a great experience to do all that, and I didn't really know what it was going to look like. And then when I was done with
Mhm.
that Mindy, it was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. And then, so that's the most memorable one. I like that video a lot.
So I've seen a lot of your stop motion videos, and I'm like, it must have taken you 5 hours or longer to make this. How long does it take to make those videos?
So one like that, I mean, there's a lot of preparation. So the idea happens, and then say there's a week or a couple weeks of brainstorming how I'm going to do it, and then getting all the materials. The one that I did for Product Hunt is the second longest one I've ever done. The actual filming of that, like the stop motion of that, was, I think it took 13 hours straight. I started at night and I went all night, no sleep. I was like, man, why is the light on this paper getting light? I'm like, oh yeah, the sun's up and my alarm's going off and I have to go to work for 12 hours. And that was this, that was this one right here with all the little faces and.
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah,
Amazing.
I still have all of that, but it was so hard because you had to move, like you had to rearrange all these little, there was like 500 dots, and it was fun though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm going to look up right now that video and put it in the chat, unless you have a link to it.
It's on the reel.
It is the reel. Okay.
Briefly, yeah, but it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's if you guys Google search it or look at the reel, there's this amazing stop video. This was a year and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah, it's on Twitter a lot. I mean, if they just looked it up on Twitter.
Yeah, if you search on Twitter, it'll show up. It's really well done, and it was when we had a different tagline. You'll see pictures of people's profile pictures from like the very early days of Product Hunt.
What was it? Daily leaderboard of the best new products.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Wow. That's literally what it was.
Yep. Very, very like direct.
That's how Product Hunt has been. It's just a leaderboard and very direct products that you hunt for.
Yep. Okay, let's see. I'm looking up here. Let's see. So Eric has another question here. Who are some of the artists you really admire and why?
Good question. So my favorite artist of all time is a guy called Philippe Petit, and he's been talked about a little more recently because there's a movie called The Walk with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's the guy who tightrope between the Twin Towers. And that guy's just a really cool guy. Like, he pulled off the greatest heist in history just for the sake of art and beauty. And it's like, it's amazing that he tightrope between those two those two buildings because he thought it would be beautiful and he would love the experience. Then he also he built an 18th century barn using only 18th century tools. I mean, that's just like, that's this guy. I mean, he creates stuff for the love of art, and he's kind of he's influenced me in like the real reason why you make things, and it being for a love of it and the beauty of it before anything else, and the rest will fall into place. And then second place is a guy who he's not famous. He's known in like the film with certain film people, but his name is Joe Bachman, and he's this guy who was my neighbor in college for a semester, and then he left to be homeless in the streets intentionally to experience it. And then he just started directing music videos for he does a lot of animation and stop motion. He directed for The Roots and Sufjan Stevens, and he's an amazing musician. He's just himself. He doesn't try too hard. So he's one of my favorite creators.
Wow. So he went from intentionally homeless to directing movies or video.
And he does have a huge beard and long hair, so he still kind of looks homeless. He's tamed it up a little bit, but if I ever make a movie, I would want him to be a part of it or act in it maybe, because he's got a cool look.
So you mentioned earlier, and I didn't ask yet, but you mentioned you're writing a film. You're doing a playwright, right?
Yes, I'm writing a screenplay. A screenplay, which I have this weird goal to make a movie by the time I'm 28, which is 3 years from now. And it's just a low budget American indie film, thriller, and I can't tell anything more other than I've used different aspects of my life to make it very authentic and real, and it's a cool story, and it's really hard to write a screenplay.
Oh, I bet. Are you filming it yourself, or who are you working with on it?
Right now, I'm just doing the story part of it. And I have a couple people that are helping and guiding me through the formatting side of it and the dialogue. I have a friend who lives in Los Angeles who's pursuing film there, one of my best friends, and so right now it's in the beginning stages, and I'm building relationships, and I who knows, it kind of, I hope it unfolds and I eventually make it, but that's the goal.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see what comes of that. So we have another question from Jess here. It's an unusual one. I don't know if anyone in the history of Product Hunt Live has asked a question like this, but if you were a tree, where would you want to be planted?
If I was a tree, where would I want to be planted? That's a great question.
It's deep. Yes, I'm reading the chat. It is deep.
Well, I think if I was a tree, I would want to be planted in a desert near a village that needed a tree that had shade and fruit. And I feel like I'd be doing some good to the world, and I'd feel pretty badass because I'm a tree in the desert. And yeah, exactly. The only tree in it. So I'd feel badass, and then I'd be doing it for a good cause. And yeah, I think that's my answer to that obscure question.
Solid answer.
Yeah.
It might be lonely, but at least you'd be doing some good.
Man, yeah, that's a good point. Never mind. I'll be in a jungle with all the other tree friends.
All the other tree friends.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. All right, let's jump into a super serious question. Maybe not super serious. Hannah, have you done a detour yet? And if you don't know what detour is, I can describe it for you. But how do you think the technology will change over the next year to give us content based on geolocation, current emotional state? I don't know where this question came from, but
explain detour. No, I thought I knew a lot, but now I'm realizing I don't know as much as these guys.
So maybe you won't be able to answer this as well, but Detour is an app that launched about a year ago by Andrew Mason, and it's an app to do tours. So you basically plug in your app, put in your headphones, and walk around San Francisco or New York City.
Yep.
And normally you go with like a tour guide. This is basically your virtual tour guide. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on virtual tour guiding, but
I think it's cool. I mean, me personally, my first impression of a place, I wouldn't like if I've never been to San Francisco. So I would kind of want my first experience in San Francisco to be real life. So I don't know if I'd do that for that place. I mean, if there's someone who says, well, maybe I'll never go there, or I love this place so much, I just have to be there right now, even if it's virtual. But for me, I'm more like, I don't know. I like the being in the real place and seeing it. Maybe if I was going to plan my trip, I could be like, hey, show me around before I get there, so I don't waste time trying to figure it out. But
yeah, and to clarify, it's actually when you are there. So it'd be walking around like Tenderloin of San Francisco.
Oh,
someone would say, oh, look over there, and so it's actually the exact opposite.
Oh, well, I like that then. It's like a museum when you're walking through, and it's like, this artist painted this in 18. That'd be cool, man.
Yeah. Do you go to museums? I mean, you're a very artistic
I love
guy.
museums,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunately there's no free museum in Nashville, so I haven't been to the museum here yet because I like free stuff a lot. But
you hear that, guys?
Yeah.
You can also like put your address in the chat there. Free stuff.
Free stuff. So you send it my way. I got the free as soon as they had the free buttons of the free stickers. I was all over that.
Yeah.
But if I've been like DC has a lot of free museums. That used to be near where I lived, so I'd go there a lot. And I just, if I can be around art and I'm not having to spend a lot of money, then I go to a lot of museums and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just realized what we should be doing is we should be sending every guest a Product Hunt t-shirt before free Product Hunt t-shirts. So
wow.
I'm gonna note that down in my notebook over here.
Yeah, note it. That's important.
Note it down. So actually, this is a question I had that Corley's asking. Hi there. Thanks for joining us. What made you get into making super cool videos? Like, was Mindie the catalyst, or were you doing that before?
That was the catalyst. I started going to school for film and acting because I thought that'd be a way to get into film stuff. And then I changed. I'm like, well, I can do this with all my friends without actually getting like a degree in it. So then I went to more the book side of it and theology, philosophy. And I really kind of like gave that up because I was kind of overwhelmed by how much I would have to learn to actually make a video or a movie. And so until Mindie came along, I really wasn't doing anything artistic for about a year, maybe painting a little bit. But when Mindie came along, I was like, wow, that was super easy. and I just made a music video, and I was like, man, and so it just, the simplicity of it really was the catalyst to get me into more complicated forms of creating videos. And now I want to make a feature, which I've always kind of wanted to do, but now it's a little more somewhat realistic.
Feels more achievable, you think?
It feels more achievable. Exactly.
Yeah. I actually, so I used to film everything as a kid. Back in middle school and high school, I got a camera, my first camera, and me and my friends would just walk around the city and film random stuff. I would turn the camcorder around and make faces,
Oh,
and
wow.
I thought it was just hilarious. I have, I think, 60 hours of footage
Oh my
somewhere
gosh.
in an attic, and a lot of embarrassing stuff that my parents are probably going to use against me someday.
On VHS, on a tape?
I had what was the first one? I think it was an 8mm was my first one. Then I got like a high 8 camcorder.
Oh, nice.
And then I got a digital flash drive camcorder of some sort. I think a Canon Z something. I forgot the name.
Man.
But now we have these things, and they're so easy.
You can make a feature film with it. Actually, people have done that. So, yeah, I mean, I was always around people with cameras. I never had a camera growing up. It was like, we were pretty, I guess we could say, poor, or didn't have a lot of money. And but I never had a camera. But friends who did, I would always be around them. And my way to kind of be involved with the camera was to act. So I would like play. I did a lot of like acting in people's videos, and I like played random characters and stuff. So that's kind of how I grew up being involved with it. So
nice. So Jess has a less silly question. Actually, a really interesting question here. What do you think of Patreon? What's the most viable way to get paid for someone without a massive audience?
So the most viable way to get paid for someone without a massive. That's a good question. If she could figure that out, she could let me know. But I don't know. You have to kind of. I think if you're wanting to make money doing something like I do, you got to kind of find a niche of what you do, or a niche audience, or a niche market. And so it's usually easier to be in a city where you can do stuff locally, and you can build relationships locally, because then you can meet face to face, and you can kind of build that audience. And you have that, it may not be the whole world audience, but you have, hey, Nashville knows who you are, and so you can make money in Nashville. Or for me, it's weird because Mindie was very European, so all of the opportunities I've had have been from like French or European companies. So that was kind of interesting. That was my niche kind of market or audience.
What's so actually I had a question that I wanted to bring up, that what's on your home screen? Like you obviously big into Mindie, but what other apps are you using?
Oh, wow, good question. I have the Product Hunt app, gotta say that one. Let me just get my phone and I'll see. I have the International Movie Database, because I like movies.
I love how you didn't say IMDb.
I'd say the official way of saying it. What else do I have on here? I have Clash of Clans, although I haven't been on there in a while. That kind of stole many years of my life. Really, the only one I have Kickstarter, because I went on there and funded one thing for this year. I really don't. Those are the only ones. I really don't use a lot of stuff on my. I'm pretty simple. Wikipedia, when I want to like know true knowledge.
Real knowledge.
I use different. I'm always downloading and deleting things. So, but consistently Mindie, consistently Product Hunt, Facebook Messenger.
I think you should get into Snapchat. Partly for my own like personal game. I want to see your snaps.
All right.
I think you'll be an amazing Snapchat creator.
Especially with these new tools they have. I think you've inspired me.
Nice. Okay, it looks like we're gonna do a call-in. This is Hamza. Looks like he's in Nashville.
Oh, really?
From Nashville.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Dialing. Oh, and he's eating.
Oh, wow. Are you eating an avocado? No, maybe he accidentally came on here.
Hey,
are you
guys.
muted?
So,
hey.
Hello.
I'm an old school. I'm having an old microphone.
Hey, that's cool.
I like it.
I can hear you good, so.
All right. Do you have you're from Nashville?
Wait a second, please.
All right.
He got nervous.
Great question. Great question.
Nice meeting him.
Yeah, that was epic. Yeah, epic call in, Hannah. That's right. Okay, Eric has a good question here. Very product hunt relevant. So, if you were going to start a startup right now, what would you start?
Man, if I said that, someone's gonna make it, and then they'll steal my idea.
So do like say what you would not do ever because it's a terrible idea.
Okay. What I would
Wait.
not do. But what are some things? Um,
Would it be something in arts, something in video?
I thought about doing something that was all portrait style, and it was very much like the artistic side, like making like what was the idea I had? So I had an idea, and so it's all 16 by 9 format or like portrait style, and each week on the app, like you're limited to a certain song or a certain filter or a certain something, and then you have to create within that week's limits of it. And so each week you kind of create a video, and it's the whole idea behind the app is making a video based on a couple limits so you can be resourceful and think of cool ways to, so it kind of just makes you a better creative, and it shares cool videos and art. So that was one I had. I have one that
I like it because it adds constraints. You have to
Yeah.
take the lyrics in that song or this filter and apply it to something.
Exactly. So it's just the main idea is making a video within specific limits, and the limits kind of vary each time. And then my favorite idea I won't say on here, because if I ever do it, someone's going to do it before me. So maybe I'll tell you sometime. I trust you.
Okay. We'll talk later. I want to hear it. All right. So Will has a question. What's your favorite movie and your favorite music video?
Oh, wow. That's a hard one to ask. My favorite movie, I don't have one favorite. I have a few that are like in my top 10 that kind of evolves.
Yep.
I'll name a couple. So number one I always think of is a very abstract movie called Tree of Life, by Terrence Malick, and it's one of the most beautiful movies of all time. It has a lot of big actors like Jessica Chastain and Brad Pitt, but it's a very beautiful film. 2001: A Space Odyssey is also a kind of mind-blowing movie.
Funny, I have not seen that. I have that on my to-do list.
You definitely should. That one, don't watch it on your iPhone. Watch it on the biggest screen you can find.
Okay.
It won't make any sense no matter how you watch it, but that's okay, because I don't think it's made to make sense. But some more normal movie. I like one of my favorites is It's Such a Beautiful Day, which is on Netflix. It's by my favorite animator, whose name is Don Hertzfeldt. And it's just pieces of paper with stick figures. He did everyone knows his YouTube video called Rejected, and it was these little cartoons and my spoon is too big. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I may have seen it. It sounds vaguely familiar.
And then there's a banana that comes on there and says, "I'm a banana." But it was my favorite video on YouTube. But he has a movie on Netflix called It's Such a Beautiful Day, and it's really weird, but it's good. So those are some of the movies.
All right. I have some things to watch.
Yes, you do.
And you're reminding me about 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
All right, Hamza, we're going to give him another try.
Another shot. All right.
Another try. Here we go, buddy. Connecting. Another shot. All right.
Okay,
You're
how are you
live.
doing, guys?
Good. How are you doing?
So we're talking about movies.
Yes.
You are.
Okay.
What question do you have? Any questions about movies or anything?
I have a question of that. Wait, do you know the movie of Gravity?
Yes, I do know that movie.
I mean, the most amazing thing that about that movie that there is only two actors in the movies. I mean, it's just blowing up. I mean, I
Yeah,
love that movie.
that's pretty cool. It's almost like the
Yeah.
idea of having limits, and like here are these two people in space and it's only about these two
Yes.
people. So I think that's an amazing movie. And yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an it's a really a good economical project. Just two actors in war.
yeah, I'm sure they
Very,
spent a lot of
very
money on other
expensive.
things.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
And I just
That movie
saw
has
it
some amazing.
yesterday. I just saw it yesterday in 3D. It was cool. I mean,
You,
I felt
you
like
saw it for the first time?
yeah, my first. I just saw the trailer before, but I never saw the full movie.
Wow. That's the best
Nice.
movie to watch
Just
in 3D for sure. That and
yeah,
Toy
yeah,
Nice.
of
Story
course it
3.
is. Because the actions
Oh yeah.
in the
It's
space
very
in this.
tense.
I
It's
mean,
amazing.
yeah, whoa, it's amazing. Well, thank you
All
guys
right,
so
we're gonna.
much.
Thanks for coming on. We're gonna open the
Thank
seat to
you.
somebody else. If anybody wants to join, jump in. Actually, Gravity was amazing because not only was it just like two people for the majority of it, but there were those long cuts
Oh
where it
my
would be
goodness.
minutes and minutes without the and things. It's in space. It's a great film.
Yeah, so technically amazing. And then that's the guy,
Absolutely.
the cinematographer for that was the guy who did Birdman, which is sorry,
Oh, that
that's all
yes.
one seemingly long take. So
Isn't
sorry if
it?
you didn't
Isn't
know
it
that,
like
people.
2 or 3 takes?
Well, there are cuts and there's moments where but it looks. I mean, it's the first movie that actually looks like it's one. There's a couple moments. I don't want to
Yeah.
ruin anything for people who haven't seen it, but
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, we have another call in. We're gonna give this a shot. All right. I'm not sure. Is it Bob
Yeah, it's Babaker.
Babaker? Hey, Babaker.
Hey, Ryan, how are you? Hey, guest.
Thanks for
hello.
coming on.
Thanks. Do you guys have, what do you guys think about the future of cinematography and the way movies are delivered? Because of right now, you produce an entire movie and then you deliver it. Do you think anything interesting is going to happen in the space of tech and movie making as far as delivery?
Mm.
I think it could go a couple different directions. It could go where like film is a dying thing, like actually watching a film in film is a dying thing, but I think that could kind of bounce back in certain audiences. I think there'll of course be more immersive forms of cinematography where you're actually there's a virtual reality and you're in that, and it's not. And I think artists who make things look beautiful with a camera, I think a lot of their minds will go into making this world look beautiful. So I mean, I'm open to all these types of things, but I think
Do you think it's always going to be record, produce the content first, then deliver, or do you think anything is going to happen in the live space? Something,
um,
maybe something interactive or of any
I
of
think
that sort?
I think there'll definitely be some form of interactive things. I think some of the best art is I think what makes movies so different is the fact that you can edit things and that could transform the whole thing. So I think my favorite movie experiences will probably be always ones that people like put a lot of time into editing and timing things a certain way. And but then it'll be cool experiencing something that's interactive and live. So, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate taking the question, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Never met a Babaker before. It's the first.
That is the first. At first,
Why you haven't done much like Periscope or Meerkat, or I'm assuming this is your first time on Blab as well. Is that right?
yes, it is. See,
Any reason? Is it just not a format that you're into, or what do you think about live streaming?
yeah, nothing. I have nothing against it. Well, a practical reason. I always use up my data too quick, so that's a thing. But another thing is, I really am. I I haven't downloaded it yet. I haven't tried it. I've seen friends having it, but I'm kind of I love all these new products and stuff, but I sometimes am a little bit slower when I actually start immersing myself in it or start using it. So I mean, there's a lot of things now. Snapchat, things that I got to try out after our experience here. So, but
Yeah.
it's nothing against them. It's not like I have something against that style, but I do like to spend a lot of my time in like real, like if I could choose between a Periscope or going to meet these friends and talking and having a drink or something or coffee, I choose that over that. So I like real
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it's very it's a very different format than what you've done with like Mindie, where you're producing something. You mentioned you spent like 2 weeks thinking about how to do this like 10-second clip, which is kind of incredible. Versus this, where it's very conversational and participatory and interactive.
I do like how this kind of like brings the world. It makes it like Periscope is amazing because you can be and you can experience different things globally, and it brings us all kind of together, and it creates, like right now I'm having a conversation with you in San Francisco, and all these people from around the world are listening or videoing in. So that's I think that's really cool. I mean, it feels like I'm in the same room with you almost.
Yeah. So those watching right now, we have an open seat if you want to jump in and ask a question. Put on some makeup first, maybe put some headphones on. I'm sure you look amazing either way. Seats open, so feel free to jump in. In the meantime, Eric has a question here. It looks like, what are the goals of your videos? Like, I know you we talked about Mindie and you found it and you immediately got addicted to it, in your words. Any particular goal you're writing? You're preparing to do a movie. You want to do a movie. Like, what is the 10-year look for you? Let's say.
I think my goal over that time would be, in a practical sense, I'd love to be able to make a living by creating stuff. And I think, like we talked about already, I'd love to make a feature. But I think just in a place where I've grown a lot and I've mastered certain aspects of my craft, but where I'm still kind of pushing myself to grow in different things and putting myself in situations where I'm pressured to kind of expand as an artist. I think I would love to be just making things that people would be like, man, I felt really happy when I watched that, or man, that was beautiful, or man, life is pretty awesome. Like simple moments can be captured, like conversations are I would love to make a video or something where it's just about conversation and people are like, man, conversations are meaningful. Like they really, I would love to be making things that makes people think, wow, like the world is beautiful and people are beautiful. So I don't know what that looks like practically, but I'm going one step at a time. And I so far life's been unpredictable, and I didn't expect the opportunities that I've been given. So I probably should come up with an actual 10-year goal. This is something I need to do now, and then next and next, and these are steps toward it. So that would probably help guide me through this process.
Do you see yourself moving out of Nashville?
I like Nashville a lot. I've never really liked country music, but you don't really have to be around that to live here. It's just a cool community. People are real friendly, lots of coffee, lots of restaurants, lots of creative people. I'm open to all different places. My wife grew up in Virginia, and she would love to be back near there. But this has been a growing experience for her coming here. So I'm very open to all sorts of places. I mean, I wouldn't want to live in a desert or Mars.
Unless you're a tree, as you mentioned before.
Yes, unless I'm a tree. But I shifted to the jungle side of it now. I'd be very lonely.
Very lonely tree. Nice. Have you been to San Francisco or on the West Coast yet?
I have not yet. I almost moved to Los Angeles, but Nashville's as far as I got. Yeah, I haven't been to California yet.
LA, I think you would love LA. I mean, it's of course there's so much diversity there. There's a lot of arts, a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. I may end up. I'm very open to things. A big factor of it is where my wife could be happy somewhere too, and our family, and I'm a very open person.
So I've seen your wife on Mindie a lot. You've done a lot of the Mindies with her. Is she as much into this as you are, into creating videos and that kind of thing?
She's supportive. It does take a little push for her to be on camera. Although she's gorgeous and beautiful, but she's not a person who likes the spotlight. So, but yeah, she likes the videos, and she's been in a lot of the best, funniest videos, like the one where she's dancing in the bathroom, and then it switches and it's actually me dancing, and
I've seen that. Yeah, I remember that burned into my memory.
Yes.
That was you in tight. I don't know what it was, but
They
Swimsuit, underwear. I'm not sure.
yeah, I have them on right now actually.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. It's all right. I remember. I remember exactly what they look like. Yeah, it's great. I remember seeing that in my Mindie feed. All of a sudden, I was like, oh my god, here we go.
Yeah,
This is great.
at first you're like, wow, why is he recording his wife doing this? And you're like, oh god,
Oh,
I have to watch again.
and that's the great thing about your videos is they're everything from something comical to some stop motion to like something almost uh like dramatic in some ways. Some of the slow motions and stop motion films you've done, but also the time lapse videos you've done of nature and that kind of thing are amazing.
Yeah, it's I always wanted to surprise people. I didn't want to be fit and like, oh, Jesiah makes funny videos, or Jesiah makes happy animation videos, or Jesiah makes slow-mo. I wanted to let's try all these things and surprise people.
Yeah, cool. So if anybody wants to jump in and get on camera, go ahead and click that button. We only have like another 5 minutes or so, so not much time, but we have one question here from, let's see, Nicholas. What is the role of feedback for your videos? Open mic comedians feed on the energy of the crowd, but online videos get all sorts of noise. That's a really good point in that, unlike kind of where we are now, where we're getting feedback, we're getting comments, we get this instant kind of gratification in some respect. What feeds the energy for the stuff you create, and how do you take that in?
I think it is really cool when people it was cool that I made these little videos and then people were liking them. Like I was just this guy living in Virginia Beach who made something on his phone, and then the audience got really big, and then I think it's like 60,000 followers on Mindie and all of like it was just that was exciting. It was like, wow, I'm making stuff and people actually like this. And some people were like, what did someone, they were like, you're an inspiration. I never would have thought of myself as like an inspiration, but they're like, your videos are inspiring. And I think, I think that like is the biggest, when someone compliments or is excited about my work, because sometimes you'll see something, you'll make it and you see all the flaws in it. And then when people see it and they love it, you're like, man, it actually is pretty good and stuff like that. Because usually I'm a big critic of my stuff, and then when people love it, I'm like, oh wow, I love it too.
That's great. I mean, it's that applies to everything from you're launching a mobile app or a startup to a 10-second video. Like it takes a lot of guts to put stuff out there.
It's just it's confirmation. You're like, I mean, sometimes you can make something amazing and no one sees it and no one likes it, but it feels really good when people like what you've made and download your app or go on your website or something.
Yeah. All right. So we have a call in here. Dahlia.
Hello, Dahlia.
Hello.
Reel on your website or the Mindie magician, but I was gonna ask two questions. A, have you heard of Leica? And B, if you could have a team of people, what kind of animation would you like specialize in?
So what was the first question?
Have you heard of Leica?
Leica.
They did the movie
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about now.
The Newman character. It didn't do very well. I felt really bad. It didn't do very well.
Was it Box Trolls or
something like that? Box Trolls, and then there was one that was like a lot similar.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking. Yeah, it's if I see it written out, I'd recognize it. I don't think I've ever actually said it, but yeah, I've heard of them. They actually use some of the stuff that I haven't done on my phone for animation it's a program called Dragon Frame, and it's a very accessible thing. Like a artist who doesn't have a lot of money can get it, download it, use it. But then like big movies use it. Wes Anderson used it in Grand Budapest Hotel. But I think if I had a team, like if I had to be an animator with a certain filmmaker, I think Wes Anderson would be the guy I would go to. He did Fantastic Mr. Fox, and
love that film.
I love it. It's because it's obscure animation and it's really cool and fun. And so if I mean, that'd be a dream to be an animator on that or be collaborating somehow with one of his things because he's such a great artist. Yeah.
Cool.
There's a style about his films too, where it's very colorful and there's some aesthetic that he has. That just carries through all of his films. It's very bright.
Yeah, it's very bright. It's very symmetrical, and it's like he made his own rules, and it was very kind of artsy. But now everyone sees it and they love it. Everyone has heard of Wes Anderson, but
Mm-hmm.
he started doing things that no one else was doing and said, hey, I'm setting my own rules, making my own stuff, and people love it. So
Yeah.
So you'll keep the name then. You'll be like Jesiah Bonney.
yeah, there you go. It could be
Nice.
Jess or Wes. Jess Wes.
Just
Just
right.
Wes.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Train.
Nice.
All right.
Cool. Thanks for calling in. I think
Thank
we're
you.
about to wrap it up here.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. Dude, so what's next? You're still just selling cars, killing it. You're making Mindies, you're writing, you're gonna launch a movie here hopefully soon. What's next for you?
The short-term things, the most short-term is there's an Instagram video contest that's due on Halloween that's by Eli Roth, who's like a horror movie director. And so I'm trying to do a little horror, 15-second horror film. And I can't say too much, but it involves emojis. So
I will like it.
You will love it. Maybe you won't. I don't know. It's also horror. So emoji, it's a weird mixture. And then I'm directing a lyric video for a person I met in Nashville who's a really good singer. And
Nice.
my wife, she's a poet. Her name is Johnny Bonney, and it rhymes. And she writes children's books. So I've been trying to illustrate for those. And so that's another thing I'm working on. Those are all the short term.
And avocados, they're also in there somewhere.
Of course, yeah. We don't have any right now. We have eggplant. So we're making eggplant and beef or something tonight. So that'll be
nice. Nice. Dude, well, thanks for coming on. I was really excited to chat with you finally for the first time after a year and a half probably of getting to know you over the year or so. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you're my best friend in San Francisco, by the way.
Besties, high five.
Besties. Oh, now it's all smeared. No.
That's all right.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciated it. I was going through the list of everyone who's on there, and it's like founder, CEO, famous writer, car salesman. So I'm really honored to be able to share my average Joe creativity.
No, this is great. We're gonna go back in about a year or so. We're gonna go back and we're gonna be like, this guy, he blew up, and I remember him back here about a year ago on Product Hunt.
There you go.
Seriously, not just like saying that, but I think you're really talented, and I know you're going places.
Thanks, man. I feel motivated. Thank you for encouraging me.
Cool, dude. All right, talk to you later.
Peace.